The 4th of July. It's a date that conjures up specific images, doesn't it? The smell of barbecue smoke hanging in the summer air, the sound of kids laughing and running through sprinklers, and the vibrant, explosive beauty of fireworks painting the night sky. It's a celebration of noise, light, and community. But what happens when that celebration goes horribly, tragically wrong? On the night of July 4th, 1988, the sky above Northgate High School was supposed to be filled with the usual bursts of red, white, and blue. The whole town was gathered on the school's football field, a place usually reserved for touchdowns and marching bands, now serving as the center of the annual festivities. But according to a story that has haunted the community for decades, the sky that night was filled with something else entirely. Pure, unadulterated terror. The story goes that something went catastrophically wrong with the firework display. A commercial-grade mortar, a shell designed to soar hundreds of feet into the air, malfunctioned. Instead of shooting up, it fired sideways, a screaming horizontal comet of sparks and fire. It shot directly into the crowded bleachers, striking a popular, promising student named Alex. In one horrific, blinding flash, a night of cherished tradition became a permanent nightmare. They say the school itself never recovered. The weight of the tragedy was too much to bear. Within a year, its doors were chained shut, left to decay as an unofficial monument to the life that was lost. And as for Alex, they say he never truly left. The legend insists that every year, on the anniversary of his death, when the distant boom of fireworks echoes through the hollow, empty building, his restless spirit returns. It's a terrifying story, the kind of chilling urban legend that feels so specific, so detailed, that it just has to be real. But is it? The legend of Northgate High is the kind of story that thrives in the darkness, whispered from one person to another. After the school was officially abandoned, it didn't take long for it to become a magnet for a different kind of visitor. It became a rite of passage, a test of courage for local teenagers, especially on the 4th of July. The story always seems to unfold in a familiar cinematic way. A group of 4 teenagers, straight out of a classic horror movie script, decide they want to see the curse for themselves. They pile into a car on the anniversary of Alex's death, armed with nothing but their phones and a deep-seated desire to challenge a ghost. They find a weak spot in the old, rusted perimeter fence and slip onto the property. They step into the decaying school, and the door groans shut behind them. The air is thick with the smell of dust, mildew, and forgotten memories. Their phone flashlights cut feeble beams through the oppressive darkness, illuminating hallways lined with silent, forgotten lockers. And then, just as the first distant fireworks of the night begin their patriotic barrage, that's when things start to get strange. It starts small. A single locker door down the hall slammed shut with a violent metallic clang that echoes endlessly. They try to rationalize it, the wind, a draft, but then they hear it. Footsteps, heavy and deliberate, from the floor directly above them. A floor they know for a fact is empty. The teens, trying to capture proof of their adventure, start to hear another noise filtering in from outside, a sound that is distinctly not fireworks. It's the murmur of a crowd, the phantom energy of thousands of people. It sounds almost like a ghostly pep rally is materializing on the haunted football field. The legend says the spirits of that night are drawn back by the sounds of celebration, and they force anyone trapped inside the school to witness the tragedy on a loop forever. The story almost always ends in the same place, the cavernous, echoing gymnasium. The terrified teenagers find themselves trapped, their backs against the door. They look up at the bleachers, and that's when they see him, the ghostly, translucent figure of Alex, forever turning his head to look at the blinding flash that ended his life. They see the lights in the gym flicker and die, and the air fills with the unmistakable, acrid smell of smoke and sulfur, a sensory ghost of that fatal night. Some versions of the tale even claim there's a faded, tattered banner still hanging from the rafters that reads, "Spirit of '88." It's a chilling, bone-deep story that has been shared and embellished for years. And the scariest part, the detail that makes it so compelling, is the unwavering claim that it's all based on a true story. That single phrase is what elevates a simple ghost story into something more, based on a true story. It lends credibility. It suggests a dark history just waiting to be uncovered. And that's what I wanted to look into. But when you actually start digging for the truth behind the July 4th school curse, the powerful narrative begins to fall apart with surprising speed. The first, most obvious step is to look for any official record of the accident. The death of a high school student in a freak firework accident, especially in 1988 at a public event, would have been major news. It would have been covered extensively by local newspapers, television stations, and would have likely led to new regulations. This would have been a significant event, particularly in a place like Walnut Creek, California, where one of the most prominent Northgate High Schools is located. But when you meticulously search through the news archives, the digital databases, the microfiche records of the Contra Costa Times from that entire year, you find nothing. There are zero reports of a student named Alex, or any student for that matter, dying in a fireworks accident at any Northgate High School in 1988. Now, to be clear, there have been some horrific firework accidents over the years. A notable incident in Duluth in 1988 saw an entire show detonate at once on the ground, and a truly catastrophic disaster at a market in Mexico City that same year resulted in numerous deaths. But none of them match the specific, crucial details of this legend. The narrative of a single sideways firing mortar at a high school football field is absent from the historical record. So, if the central tragedy didn't happen, what about the school itself? The story says it was closed down and abandoned as a direct result of what happened. The truth is, Northgate High School in Walnut Creek has been open and operating continuously since it was founded in 1974. The school did, however, close down for a period of time, which is likely the kernel of truth that allowed the legend to sprout. It was temporarily shut down following the massive 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. The closure had nothing to do with a curse or a student's death. It was because the quake had shaken the building, raising concerns about asbestos contamination, a very common and serious problem for public buildings constructed during that era. So the main pillars of the story, the tragic death of a student named Alex, the school being abandoned in shame, and even the Spirit of '88 banner, it seems they were all fabricated. There is simply no evidence to support that any of it is real. So if the facts don't add up, where do stories like the July 4th school curse even come from? The answer is that they are born from a perfect storm of human psychology and folklore. Nearly every high school, every college campus has a ghost story, usually tethered to some kind of tragedy, whether real or, in this case, completely imagined. The July 4th school curse is a textbook example of a modern urban legend. It expertly weaves together our real-life, justifiable fears about things like firework accidents with a setting that is already inherently creepy to many, a large, empty school at night, to create a narrative that just feels like it could be true. The tale of the July 4th school curse isn't based on a true story. It's a work of fiction, a piece of community folklore. It's a story that plays on our collective love for a good scare and the ancient, primal idea that powerful emotions and traumatic events can leave a permanent, supernatural mark on a physical place. It takes a real event, a temporary school closure, and provides a far more dramatic and emotionally resonant explanation for it. So while you almost certainly won't find the ghost of Alex wandering the halls of Northgate High on Independence Day, the legend itself serves a purpose. It's a reminder that the scariest stories aren't always the ones that are demonstrably true, but the ones that feel like they should be. They prey on our fears and reflect our anxieties back at us in a safe narrative form. What are some of the local urban legends from where you live? Every town has one, a story that gets told to scare new residents or entertain kids around a campfire. Let me know about them in the comments below. And if you want to see more deep dives into your favorite scary stories and urban legends, be sure to subscribe.